Good evening. I finally had time. I usually have time to grade towards the end of the weekend, towards the weekend rather, and so you'll be hearing more from me the next few days. I wanted to go over some of your papers. Here we have the one you turned in. I'm highlighting it, going up here to Times New Roman, and I'm also setting it to 12 point. All your papers should be Times New Roman and 12 point. I'm going to go up here to page layout. Let me kill this. And the page layout is always going to be 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. So what I'm trying to do right now is find the margins. It's not moving real fast. Here we go. 1 by 1 by 1. And we hope that's changed that. I'm going to go to home and make sure, yeah, as you can see up here, some days this works better than others. Times New Roman 12. And I'm going to go back down to the document. You might know some of the answers to this now, but let's go through it. The paragraph will be indented about 5 points, 0.5 inches, 5 spaces. I'm going to go over this, and usually, unless the professor tells you differently, the line spacing is double, and this is all good. And we'll have that. The next thing I want to look at is what you have. You have something up here that says Miranda and Martinez. We have something here that says Primac 2008. I'm not sure where these are coming from. When you have anything like this, it refers to the references. The only reference you have here is going to be just the article itself. I'm going here to paragraph. I'm going to fix this while I'm here. It's double spaced, and this is a hanging indent. So it looks more like this, if you see what I mean. So, and I have my example sort of like this, but in the real world, this of course would be a separate page. Your references would be listed by the last name, the author, and it'll be alphabetized that way. So when I'm up here and I see Martinez Miranda, I go down here and it's not there. Now, if you're asking me, do people grade that way? Yes, this is absolutely important. This is supposed to be matchy-matchy. If it's up here, it's down here. So I'm not sure where this came from. What I'm guessing is that you have quoted something that is in the Tucker piece, probably the first part where it's sort of a literature survey, as in this is what we read to come up with this piece. Now, unless you went to Martinez Miranda 2004 and read it in the full text, you actually can't cite it. You can cite it as something like this. First of all, you would probably want to mention that this is where it came from. I'm going to kind of put it up here. I'm just going to put found, work on some transitions. Martinez Miranda found students are interested in blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to get rid of this. I'm assuming you didn't read it. And I think it actually came from Tucker down here. And it's something they read. In that case, it's called a secondary source. So it's as cited in Tucker and Quartz. Parenthesis, period. And that's all you need. You didn't actually read it, I'm assuming. It's in somebody else's work. You let people know that, where it was, what it's attached to, but you read it here, and you're probably quoting or summarizing it from that piece. According to Primac, okay, we're going to assume that this is the same story. Their 2008 doesn't matter unless it's something down here that you actually read in full text, in which case that needs to be here. I'm going to get rid of that. According to Primac, grade inflation hides laziness on the part of the students. Blah, blah. So let's look at this. So how do we fix it? We know that Primac, we think, is in this article. We need to do an as cited piece. Let's go here, parenthesis, as cited in Tucker, and the ampersand that I can't do, Quartz, period. Now, when you have a quotation like this, first of all, you don't have to capitalize the G. You need to put the page number. So that might have been page, how many page numbers is that? 45 to 43? Suppose it was page 46. And that would be correct. I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a bad copy paste thing. I'm not sure. Appearance and excellence. So make sure to go through and take those out. I don't know if there's a way to ship out to remove the formatting, but there's there. In conclusion, if you're me, this is a 7 about hour. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go through this with me. And again, this is probably not this. It's probably as cited in Tucker and Courts. And here is what I, as a professor, would ask. Did you read what Tucker and Courts actually came up with? Because it seems to me in this piece, what has happened so far is that you read through their the front part of the article, probably the page 45 to 46 portion, and you read what they read, and they probably summarized it beautifully, and it was wonderful and easy to use. But did you actually bring in what they created? So let's look at the second part of this. Okay. Let me bring this baby down. Sorry. Based on statistics. I'll make sure this too. Let's right click. Yes, it is that. I'm going to go to paragraph. I'm going to make it double spaced. Okay. I'm not sure. Let's get that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Complied. Make sure these are correct. Sometimes when you're typing, they start becoming invisible. If you highlight it, right click, it'll correct it for you. Usually it'll come up with the right word. Usually you're just one word. The complaints procedure article in effect, the file should appear trees. And on, all right. So this too looks like the original article probably had, was using not APA, but another style. You didn't actually read this article, so you can actually cite that article, but you can do as cited in Tucker and Courts. When you're working on your dissertations and things at that level, this is not considered a good thing. I'm going to put you on hold for a second. I want to check if the as is capitalized. That's how I would check. Right now, I don't, my APA book is at my office. I'm at home. So I use APA Style Blog, the one that I showed you in class or talked about in class. How do you cite a source that you found in another source? First of all, you're supposed to use them sparingly. But when you see it, it looks like this. So that answered my question. Is it capitalized or not? And it is not. So I was accidentally doing that correctly. So we have this. Great inflation has been on the rise for different factors. Yes! This is finally the piece. I'm putting a comma in there. Oh, let me see what this is. I'm not putting a comma in there. I'm putting a parenthesis here. And I'm assuming you meant to start the sentence with Martinez-Miranda. Oh, I don't need the comma because it's actually not that form of in-text citation. Martinez-Miranda, 2004, suggests one of the factors being in the interest level student, stating as one is interested in a course, they will receive a higher grade. Have you ever thought about attending college with increased intuition per study? Okay, all right. College Board is not in your references. I don't know if you read it from someplace else. I don't know if you read it here. I'm going to assume that for a study completed from, I would kind of clean it up a little bit. Per a College Board study, I would check College Board to see if it was capitalized. I suspect it is the name, a proper noun phrase. I'm going to go up here for a second and check here that the College Board is capital C and capital B, and it does not consider itself a .com in that way. So let's go down and check the copyright, and it calls itself the College Board. That's what I would go with, the copyright being the more legal form. So I'm going to go back to your paper, and per the College Board, B, get rid of com, And of course, you might have to explain that to your professor where that came from, so make sure you know. And you're asking, do I really have to check that far? Yes, in fact you do. You need to know where your things come from and how to spell them and how to account for them in terms of capitalization. Furthermore, the act of great inflation is inadequate around the proper tools is another thing. And I'm hoping that's your words, and that's all cool. So finally, we have right here, suggest. One of the factors per the College Board. It just is awkward, but that's how it is. And we'll go here to references. Our references in the real world would be on their own separate page. They would be alphabetized. This part is properly done in terms of spacing, but we're going to go to the paragraph and we're going to put in our hanging indent. Second and subsequent lines are indented. So that is kind of a little bit more what it needs to look like. And I hope those explanations make sense. I might try to give you that link to the secondary source so you'll understand what it is. I believe in your undergraduate years, you're not going to have a problem using that as long as you know that's what it is and you acknowledge it appropriately. But as you move on to your master's and dissertation style writing, don't use secondary sources. That's where you hunt it down using Google Scholar or some other method, and make sure you find the full text and read that. I kind of did something weird here. According to Premac, I guess it's just extra space. And that is more or less what that is mostly supposed to look at. When I have your attention for 2 seconds, I just want to make sure you know the following things are here. I'm using the Office 365 that we have available to us. And I'm going to go over here. And with APA, we do insert a running head. The first page, I think, says running head. Paper, I'm just going to put paper. And then the page numbers are on the right. So that is something some professors do require. That is absolutely not in this piece, but I wanted to let you know that it's easy to do in Office 365. If you have other versions and you're struggling, there's a very good reason. It's very, very hard. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm going to try to get this back to you in some format, and hope you have a good night. If you have any questions, as always, please ask.